72. But the reason I started, was it 72? I guess it was 72. The reason I started writing about it is I had so many people calling me on the telephone that my telephone bills were so expensive I had to start a newsletter.
Oh, wow. And so that's how you were able to fastly, without the internet, feed people information the good old-fashioned way by just writing it out and having it and talking about what you were doing. And out of those inspirational things, how many of those people were able to actually move forth with their own creative artistic abilities?
The people that it's very interesting in dealing more with women now that have a hard time projecting themselves into the future.
Wow.
But in the 60s, in the 50s, I'd go to an art show, I'd meet somebody, I'd see their work, I'd acquire their work, and they would decide they were pretty good artists, and they would go out and find themselves a gallery.
Wow, okay. And so you were that link of inspiration that
Yes.
they needed. And then you, now, just to go back a little bit, and then I want to go back to Tom, just a little bit, I wanted you to talk a little bit more about the women. You said something about they weren't able to project themselves into the future. And I know the women's movement in general right now is huge. It's all over the planet because, you know.
It might be all over the planet, but you can't get dealers to show the work.
Wow, why not? What is that? What reason?
I don't know, but it's just like, I have 7 women in my collection that I've given open houses for. Maybe they're not as aggressive as the men are.
Do you think, is the art world, I don't know, like most of our audience is very unknowledgeable about the art world, is it male oriented and dominated like other aspects of entertainment and creativity, or no?
I think it is, yeah.
And do you think that that domination has something to do with cultural definitions, or?
Yes.
Okay. And the women you represent, are they mature women, or are there all kinds of women, or?
They're mature women.
Okay. So that may be definitely, I know everything is so visual, you know, that if you don't have an hourglass figure or something, I don't know. But does that translate into the art world in the same way as sports and all the other things that they're saying, that there's a visual image that has to be attached to that, or not?
I would say it does, yes.
Wow, that's interesting. So that leads me back to Tom, who said something about he was 60 years old, which we've never known, because there are young people that look 60 years old. However, I wanted you to talk about what it was like going from being that younger curator to now being a mature man and looking and seeing art in an entirely different way, through a mature eye.
I actually appreciate that question, because it involves a lot of anger.
Talk about that.
There was, it's tricky to talk about the past in idealized terms, as if there was a golden era and we've fallen from that golden era into kind of an unfortunate current moment. And I generally don't like to fall into that habit. But as it turns out, that's how I feel. And so there's a kind of underlying sense of dissatisfaction about what happened between then and now. And so what I'm doing now, even when it's historical, even if it's work like that work is from 1962, 64, it is in some ways, whether it's recognized as such or not, a disgruntled, angry statement about the sad condition of the present. But it is oftentimes pitched in terms of the language of the past.
Wow, and that is, I mean, you're touching, I'm sure that when our audience hears this is going to clear up a lot of things, because a lot of people don't know what you call art. It's like, okay, I did a line with a circle on the end, it's purple, and the line is blue, and I'm getting paid $30,000. And I'm, a lot of people are saying, well, what causes someone to say it's art?
This is very tricky. It's not as though we've fallen into a moment of kind of commercialism where anything can pass for art and sell for millions of dollars, and then that's the source of my irritation. Because it's not. Mm-hmm. I think an Ad Reinhardt painting, which is simply black on black, painted in 1961, could be one of the best paintings of the 20th century.
Wow.
So it's not a matter of like revealing the fraudulence of the way art operates now. It's simply just being unsatisfied aesthetically and critically.
Right.
With what the current consensus is.
And what do you think, the final question, what do you think are some of the challenges and adversities that faced not only artists, but gallery owners, people that are coming from your kind of background?
And even collectors, I would add. I think, though we don't think of them as being challenged because they have their spending income that is in excess of their needs. But I would say even collectors, the thing that I think we all share is a way of trying to operate within the conditions of current capitalism.
Wow.
That is in a sense unhappy with it, but operating within it at the same time, in a way that kind of accepts the terms, but resists them at some marginally and meaningfully in some ways. Because I think something like this, which is just kind of, it's sort of absurd. What is it? It's being offered as a single artwork, 100 pieces, they're not being sold separately.
Wow.
Is, in a sense, both within and against the conditions, the prevailing conditions. And I think that's the challenge that I share with the artists, I share with other people, is like, how do you do that? I understand that we're going to operate within those terms. I don't suggest that we're going to kind of overthrow those terms. But I think we have to operate intelligently within those terms. And that's the almost impossible challenge.
Wow. Now, do you think, given that statement you just made, do you think that in the future, given the internet, and now they got Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, thousands, delicious, all of them, what do you think? Do you think that devalues, or do you think that those ways can help push art into the future? Because right now, kind of no one knows what's going to happen. There are literally organizations that are building art communities within countries and cities all over the world because of a lack of economy. They're finding ways to take artists and house them together and have them have an art community, so to speak. So what do you think about that? Right.
I'm forced, and do so willingly, to consider changing technological conditions and changing economic and political conditions. I think they figure into what we all do, to what artists do, to what everyone does. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I don't think we know anything any more than Plato. So I think there are enormous lines of continuity.
Okay.
And to my mind, the lines of continuity way exceed the points of change. And I think it's a matter of trying to pretend that art matters.
Wow. On that note, this has been that's a wrap. It's been another Ankh Entertainment Culver City News interview with Assembly TOMWORK gallery owner Tom Jimerson and the lovely Diana Zlotnik. How do you spell it? How do you spell it?
Zlotnik.
Well, that's an original name right there, right? And what I'd like for you to do is to tell us if you have any social media information. Please state it now.
TOMWORKLosAngeles.com.
That's the website.
That's the
and
website.
Do you have Twitter, Facebook?
No, simply the website, and there's also assemblyof.com.
Okay. And Diana, where can we find out about you?
You can find out, give me a card.
We can find out about Diana, who can be written by Diana Zlotnik at Zlotnik, excuse me. at www.notalosangelesblogspot.com. We love it. I love that.
You can come over and see the collection I have.
Come over and see the collection that she has. And if you want to email Diana Zlotnik, her email address is artgal